All right, so we're gonna get into the nutrition components, but we're gonna start off with the most important piece of this, and which is why it's in the title of the program, Peaceful Abs Project. Okay, and that is this little section right here. Okay, you are learning a skill. Okay, when you learn any skill, it takes time. People don't just start a new skill and then they're automatically good at it. So I want to emphasize that, and I want to really emphasize that you can't do anything wrong other than quit. And even that, it's like, well, if you decide you don't want to have abs or you don't want to get lean, that's not a problem. But if your preference is to get as lean as possible, as effortlessly and as peacefully as possible, then you need to remind yourself that you are more than capable of doing this in this way. It's just that you got to get the skills, okay? And so I want to go over this is one of the reasons why I'm layering these things on one piece at a time, um, because it's important to not rush this. Okay, we want to build, we want to get competent in one piece, add the next piece, get competent at that, and then add the next piece. Okay, so as far as that last statement, okay, you're learning a skill. You have to remember to relax, to breathe, and be patient. Okay, um, if you happen to overeat on calories one day or whatever, like you didn't do anything wrong. Like you literally just put a little bit of extra food in your mouth. That's it. You didn't commit a crime. You didn't fail. You're learning. Okay. Um, we want to take out all of the undesirable emotions, the shame, the guilt, the frustration. We want to take those out. And more than we don't want to take not even take them out. We just want to observe them and be okay with those emotions, okay? Because then we take out the emotional charge and the disturbance that they cause, okay? So, number one, you are learning a skill, relax, breathe, and be patient, okay? If you remember my analogy at the beginning, it's, if you're putting in frustration and anger and like white knuckling it into the ingredients, right, as an ingredient of the process, you can't experience you're gonna experience those things in the finished product if you even get there. Okay, I'm gonna repeat that a lot. But if you put playfulness, peacefulness, a lightheartedness, a light touch to these things, then you're gonna experience that in the result. And the other thing is you're gonna have more fun along the way, and your probability of sticking with it goes way up. Okay. Um, Before we get into some of these ideas here, I want to share something. Not going to spend too much time on it, but babies learn through the the environment as they're growing up. And if there is a lot of fear and anxiety based on the mother or the environment, then they're not going to learn and develop. All right. And if you're interested in more of this child development stuff, which affects it's the same ideas as we get older. Um, Let me know, and we'll probably cover this a little bit at another time. But my point with this is, you want to allow yourself to be playful. Like, this is not anything crazy. It's not stressful. It's not anything. We want to put these perspectives into the ingredients. Okay, so the more playful your attitude and your environment as far as learning these skills and going about the steps and the calories, the more you're going to actually learn them and the easier they're going to become. Okay, so there's a couple of things here, and we're going to go into them one at a time. Okay, and they're all connected. Today, the first piece that we're going to cover is the nutrition protocol 3 phases. Okay, so phase one is going to be of the nutrition protocol is single ingredient foods. Okay, boxed or packaged foods, and then making your own quadrant one foods through those 2 pieces. Okay, and so quadrant one, we come over here. the way that I figured out that I look at food, and I didn't make this up to make it up. I observed myself and like, how do I look at food and choose food? And I realized that I was basing my decisions of food on two criteria: the calorie density in relation to the enjoyment of the food, which is where the food enjoyment matrix came from. We got calorie density low to high, and then we got food enjoyment low to high. Effortless fat loss will happen if you spend as much time in quadrant one, which is low calorie density and high enjoyment. Okay. And that's where the burrito diet came from. That's where, I realized I was like, man, I can make these burritos and they're delicious and they're low calorie and I want to eat them every day. All of a sudden, fat loss becomes easy. Okay. So I will go into this another time, but we're going to want to spend as much time in quadrant one as possible. Okay. So phase one is that. And there's not like a time period to these things, but you're going to realize that a little peek around the corner. The deeper you get into this and the more you get skilled at it, you're gonna find yourself wanting to spend more time in phase one. Phase two, this is where now we're incorporating eating out at calorie controlled restaurants and situations. Okay, so chains are a very easy place because they have calorie information. So, like for example, McDonald's is a fantastic choice because a cheeseburger will always be 350 calories, a hamburger will always be 250 calories. So you get my point. If I go down to a mom and shop place and I have no idea how much oil they used, I have no idea how many calories I'm actually consuming, I'm making it very difficult on myself. Okay. So the second part of phase two is not making complicated choices. Okay. Another part of that is like, if you do go to restaurants, choosing foods that are real foods. So a very standard option, like if you go somewhere, right, they always have some type of lean meat, a chicken breast, whatever, shrimp, get the dressing on the side, so on and so forth. These are small things that when you start to think about it and make decisions in this way, you keep your calories very low. Okay. And then phase three. Now this is what I call the fancy stuff. Okay. AKA you can eat anywhere, anytime, any place, anything, and still close the gap and continue to lose fat or stay lean once you've gotten there. Okay. You can eat without nutritional labels. I can eyeball almost anything. I can eyeball anything by now because I've been doing this. I mean, I've weighed 1,000 things 1,000 times. How do you develop the skill of tracking without knowing the nutrition label? You weigh 1,000 things 1,000 times, you begin to see the patterns. And it's actually not even 1,000 things. There's probably like 10 or so items that you eat on a regular basis that if you know them, you're not actually eating 1,000 things, right? And this will give you, or at this point, you're already at the body you want, or you're very close. Okay, so again, it's easier to maintain a lean body than it is to get there, as far as effort level. Not effort level. You have more buffer. You have more wiggle room. Like if I'm already as lean as I want to and I overeat by 2,000 calories in a particular day, I'm not going to gain 10 pounds of fat, right? So I have a lot more wiggle room. Again, what you're going to find is the better you get at this stuff and the better your cooking skills get, the more you want to spend time in phase one, okay? I would much rather cook my own food and eat, phase one or quadrant one foods than eating out at most restaurants. Because you start to find out like most restaurant food is actually not that good. It's just that people are so, this is a completely side note, but it's very applicable to a lot of the things that we'll be discussing is nobody actually thinks for themselves. They just go along with the crowd. And there's a lot of studies to back this up as well. But a lot of people be like, oh yeah, this restaurant is so good, it's so amazing. But is it really though? Do you actually think that? Are you actually present enough to really sit there and taste that food and see how does it affect your stomach? Do you feel good after you eat? Do you feel kind of bloated or sick? Like, people don't pay attention to that stuff. They just go with what everybody else is saying and doing. Okay, so I'm going to encourage you to really think for yourself and you make your own decision. Okay, so that's going to be the first part, a first overview of this. Okay, I'm going to send you your calorie targets. You should have macro factor set up already. You're going to plug in your targets based on what I give you, and we're going to start tracking our body weight every morning, and we're going to start tracking our calories. You're going to do the best you can. I'm going to tell you to use your food scale and weigh everything that you can. Okay. We'll discuss some of the like psychological components of that, where some, like, I'll give you two specific examples. One is like, oh, I don't have time. If you didn't have time, number one, you wouldn't be in the program, but I just want to address it because we do have those thoughts. I've done tons of videos where I'm like, I'm showing you how long it actually takes to weigh out a donut or weigh out cereal. Like, oh my God, it took so long. These are perspectives that are not true. Okay, you gotta ask, like, how long does it take to weigh something and put it in your phone? 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 25 seconds, 30 minutes? Like, it doesn't take more than 10 seconds. So when you we want contact with reality. We don't want to use, words to validate untrue perspectives. Okay. And stop further inquiry and thinking. Okay. So for example, like, oh, I don't have time. And then if you actually dive into it, you find out, oh, you do have time. Okay. So that was the first example. The second, I'm not gonna remember it, but when it comes back to me, we'll discuss that. But so you're gonna start tracking your food. You're gonna weigh everything. You're going to log it in my macro factor. You're gonna weigh yourself in the mornings. Your weighing is gonna be done at the same time every single day. Okay. Best time is you wake up, you go to the bathroom. After you go to the bathroom, before you eat or drink anything, weigh yourself. Make it easy. Put the scale right in front of your toilet. So after you go to the bathroom, stand on the scale, input your weight. Okay. Now, on a daily basis, this is what you're sending me in the Telegram chat. Okay, you're sending me your weight that morning, the calories you ate the previous day, the total amount of carbs, fats, and proteins you consumed the previous day, and your total steps for the previous day. That's it. Okay. It's being tracked in macro factor, obviously, but I want the additional accountability. That's our signal that this lesson is over. But I want that additional accountability, plus I want the visibility. Okay. And again, I'm going to encourage you to send me. So we want game tape, right? So that means, remember, game tape means take pictures of the things you're eating. Okay. And send them to me in the Telegram, and we will have our group call for my other program that I'm going to invite you guys into, and that's going to be Wednesday 3 p.m. Pacific time. I'll send you the Zoom link, and that is a place where we're going to go over the game tape and go over different questions and scenarios. The more scenarios that you can present to me, the more, more situations that you'll be able to navigate and still close the gap. Right. And I want you to see that there's always an answer. A lot of times people will come up with many different reasons for why they can't, hit the goal. It's just that you don't have the answer or solution in that situation. And once you learn it, now you got another tool in the tool belt. Okay. Like, how do I eat when I'm traveling all day? How do I eat when I'm at blah, blah, blah? How do I eat when I didn't make any food and I'm all out of blah, blah, blah? these things we're gonna cover on those Wednesday calls. So I look forward to seeing you there tomorrow. So that's the first part. We'll go over the other pieces here. You should be familiar with a lot of them because I talk about them a lot, but we're gonna go over them. Like I said, we're gonna layer them one by one. And remember, you can't do anything wrong. Okay? You're learning a skill. I will see you in the next lesson.